cercando io vo, che più cercando io vo.
Jixing, Kun, and Jigang prepare for a performance at the Octagon Theatre in Perth. Tonight, they perform as the Dragon Tenors. Each left his homeland in China to pursue his dream of becoming an opera singer. This is the story of that journey and how pursuing our passions can change our fate. Jixing and Kun practice at Jixing's home in Melbourne. Both grew up during the turbulence of China's Cultural Revolution. During this radical period of social dislocation, artists were particularly at risk. Only art that glorified Mao Zedong was permitted. It took great courage to risk more personal forms of expression.
When I was young, at school, when I was like 9 years old, so I was a member of the choir at the school. Everybody have to sing communist songs. In that time, you don't know anything, but I just think I like to sing. I don't know why. When I was 15, I joined the local music company. I just started singing. But I have a special feeling for the music.
The Cultural Revolution time, there was not much entertainment happening in China at that time, so we have to find something to entertain ourselves. All Chinese songs, revolutionary songs, mostly, because we don't have any opportunity to. You're not allowed to sing any Western songs. That will be considered. If it's not anti-revolution, you'll be considered bourgeois.
Encountering Western opera was a life-changing experience for both Kun and Jixing.
My very first singing teacher, his name is Zhou. We don't have money to pay even. And he always said, "Oh, don't worry about money, and just come. You've got the voice, and I love to teach you." He's not only taught you how to sing, and also care about your personal life as well. He had this experience with Western music, so even that time, most the Western music were banned, but you still can secretly probably listen to some old records, not very often. The first song I heard was "Come Back to Sorrento."
I never forget that moment. That's during the Cultural Revolution. So one day, there's a teacher, the pianist, who used to play for the Russian singers. One day he asked me, said, "Jixing, would you like to come to my place for dinner? Afterwards, I will show you something very special." I said, "Oh, okay." After the dinner, he said, "Keep quiet. I will play something for you. It's very nice. It's the greatest singers in the world. It's Italian." I said, "Okay." So the first the aria I heard is Una furtiva lagrima.
Una furtiva lagrima negli occhi suoi spunterò.
Since that time, I just fall in love with this music, with this opera, with this aria. I said, okay, if I have any chance, I want to be the singer like him. I want to be an opera singer. This became to my, my dream. One day, I was to play that music in the music room. I was called by the communist, the leader. They took me to the office. I was there for 2 weeks. I'm not allowed to do anything. So just write a report, say how regret that I play this music. So you never forget things like that,
Pursuing an artistic career after leaving high school seemed almost impossible for Kun.
You never know. That time the university didn't open door to the public. There wasn't any chance for me to go to university. I was assigned to a factory as a factory worker at that time. I wasn't particularly happy about my situation. I always dreamed to be a performer. And two professional local performing group, and then they wanted me to join the group. If I agree, I can leave the factory. I was tempted, I must say, but this teacher persuaded me not to go. He said, I believe you have a better career, you have a greater career than going to this local performing group.
Kun took his teacher's advice. He continued to work in the factory. On his days off, he would sing with his friends in the park, led by his teacher. In 1976, the doors to China's universities reopened. Thousands applied for the few scholarships available. Amongst those chosen was Kun. Jixing's decision to become a singer was not a popular one with his teachers because of its low status, and it proved a hard road to travel.
After 5 years I worked with a local music company, I gave up singing for 1 year. So I was a photographer, for 1 year before I went to Beijing. But that sort of life, you have to go to work very early in the morning, 7:30, and whether you have a thing to do or not, you have to stay there. Very boring. I said, no, I will never be like that, never do things like that, So I want to be a singer again. That's all.
Jixing's original training was as a baritone. But when a government talent scout who needed singers for Beijing's Central Opera House told him that the only positions available were for tenors, Jixing did not hesitate. He was reborn a tenor. Jigang had a completely different experience from Kun and Jixing. He was only a young child during the Cultural Revolution. The source of his passion for Western opera is a complete mystery.
我歌唱的这个受到的影响，不应该是来自我们家庭，但当然了，我妈妈喜欢歌唱，但是她从来也没有受过专业的训练。但是我听我妈妈的朋友跟我说，还有我妈妈说，她当年怀着我的时候，走到哪她都愿意唱歌。我想那可能是我应该我喜欢歌唱的这种非常受到的胎教，可能是那个时候从我妈妈的继承下来的。只要我在舞台上歌唱，你比任何人让我去做任何事情都开心。在舞台上是我最开心的时刻。
Jigang learnt singing and music as a soldier in China's People's Liberation Army. He became famous as one of China's preeminent tenors. The image of the heroic Italian tenor had always greatly appealed to Jigang.
In my life, really, it's a big change. It's in 1983. There's an Italian, very famous Italian baritone called Gino Biggi came to Beijing, do the master class, was invited by the government. And the first he asked me 2 questions. I think that's a very important thing is, do you believe me? If you believe me, you will, trust me and believe whatever I told you to do. I said, I believe you. The second, do you know how hard is it? You have to give up a lot of things. People enjoy themselves, but you have to stay in the room to practice. I said, look, I want to be opera singer. I can do, whatever you want me to do. I want to work hard. I totally started with him for 6 months. I got the technique.
After university, Kun got a job as a singing teacher with the Chinese Education Authority. Though permitted to sing in numerous concerts throughout the 1980s, he longed to perform the great operatic roles of the classic Western repertoire. In 1990, an Australian friend heard him singing in Beijing and was sufficiently impressed to lend him the money to study in Australia. After Kun arrived in Darwin in 1990, the only work he could get was as a factory hand in a laundry, and his first public performance not what he expected.
My first engagement, professional, so-called semi-professional, I should say, was singing for the May Day in Darwin. We had this huge parade prepared for this occasion. I was engaged to sing international songs. Everyone in China knows that song. everything was ready to go. But that day, suddenly the thunderstorm, I just couldn't believe. Darwin said, on that particular day, probably last 23 years, didn't have rain. But that day, they prepared for this parade. Suddenly, this pouring rain just ruined the whole parade.
Jigang and Jixing eventually achieved fame in China, but they both gave up secure lives as state-sponsored artists to move to Australia for the chance to perform at the Sydney Opera House. They were not prepared for the almost total insecurity that this would bring.
当我到了澳大利亚，我会感觉到作为一个歌剧演员是非常非常的艰难。为什么这么说呢？因为当今全世界的歌剧都不是处在一个非常景气的情况下。我刚一到澳大利亚的时候，墨尔本歌剧院每年都能演3-4部戏，加上别的市的歌剧院都有3-4部戏的演。但是现在你看看，墨尔本歌剧院没了。
Yeah, people always say, "Oh, aren't you lucky? You do whatever you love to do. You just have fun all the time. You sing on stage, and you sing the songs you love to sing." But sometimes it's this is only facade. On stage, it's very showy, but sometimes the progress can be slow, and before you reach your fame or reach your wealth, you can stay poor for a long time.
After his rained-out debut in Darwin, Kun had some success when he entered the Northern Territory singing competition, which he easily won. His prize was a coach ticket, which he used to travel to Melbourne. The 3 Chinese tenors met up in Melbourne just as the Victorian Opera House was closing and decided to form the Dragon Tenors.
就是我们3个人团结在一块的话，大家是更有力量。
People just love it, love this format. So that's why we formed this group to perform as the 3 tenors. As a matter of fact, 3 Chinese and also tenors and sing Western music is a fascinating image to the public.
因为我们走到哪，我们都是中国人嘛。中国人，我的观点是，作为一个中国人，永远不要忘记自己本民族的东西。如果我不是一个演员的话，如果我不能做演员的话，那我选择的职业，我要当兵，我要作为一个军人。因为军人，我非常喜欢做军人。我喜欢这种军人，在生活当中的这种威武，这种纪律非常严明的，这么一种生活。
One of my favorite opera, I should say, is Magic Flute, because I know the role of Tamino very well now. Youthful and very persistent, try to seek for truth, virtue. He tried very hard to conquer all these difficulties, to perfect himself, to make himself a better man. So I like this role very much.
For the Chinese traditional music, they have, from their sound, they have different color, different way to singing. Because look, our Chinese, we have with the Italian, we have a different culture. And Italian people, Italian people when they move, they use hand, they use their body, they use their eyes, everything. But we Chinese, when we talk, we don't use anything. If you're on the stage, you have to do, because this is Italian opera. The character needs you to do, use your hand, use your body, be other person. So I said, okay, I have to stay with the Italian family. The first time, first party I had, everybody drink, of course, the big bottle of red wine. So after that, everybody dance, everybody sing. So after that, they said, Jixing, would you mind to sing, something for us? I said, okay, I sing Una furtiva lacrima. So I said, I was very nervous, I never nervous like that because you're all Italian there. So I sing Italian opera. After I sang that, nobody say anything, just stay there. Afterwards, they all stand up, say, bravo! That. I said, why? For the Chinese people, after you sing, they straight away they give you so. But why is that? It's Jixing, they don't know how to say, because the sound is so beautiful. Singing in Italy, that's always been my dream. The dream I want to be an opera singer. Because when I learned, because we learned the way, the Italian technique. We want to be, when people close their eyes, they won't say, oh, this is a Chinese singer. We want them to say, oh, he's Italian. His voice is Italian. I want to be like that.
To be in Italy, to sense it physically, would be totally different from what you learn from book or from class. To feel the atmosphere, to feel what they do, what they sing.
This gentleman told me very important thing is, so Jixing, I have to tell you, for Italian people, for Italian opera, the words they wrote, they talk about like the blood. The way Italian say love is blood. So when you sing this, the love things, you have to sing from your heart. Then you can touch people, touch audience.